This is Bluebird Plays, and I am playing The 13th Year by Tall Tales Productions. It was made back in 2011. I'm not going to lie, I actually played through this game before. I want to play through it in a Let's Play now. And I also think that I missed an ending, so I want to go back and see if I can get it this time. So let us go ahead and continue. Tweet. What served me honor, gold, and land? They couldn't make me cheer. 'Tis war, alas, and I demand not to be blamed here. Chapter 1. A Blue House. I had just arrived at the well when I saw Estelle cross the bridge and approach me. I stopped for a moment and looked closer. I didn't know that person. I was even certain never having seen him, her. It was difficult to determine under that gray flowing cloak. A pilgrim probably, nothing to worry about. Not if you had to get water for the soup tonight. Soup with cabbage, ham, barley, and all sorts of tasty things. As Estelle slowly came closer, I tied the first bucket to the rope of the winch that slowly rusted above the well. We would be needing a new winch after this winter, but it was only late summer, hardly the time to think about winter. Maybe Father would even buy a third bucket so that I didn't have to go tie and untie the other two when fetching water. I dropped the first bucket into the well, heard the squeaking of the rusty winch, and then the splashing of wood on water. I grabbed the handle of the winch, crumbling cast iron in my fingers, then turned it, raising the now water-filled bucket up until I could take it and fill it into the other one I had with me. I dropped it back into the well, and it all repeated, squeaking, splashing, iron in my fingers. Then I could finally untie the bucket. I took one in my right hand, one in my left hand, and turned towards our house. Wait a moment. I stopped, set down the buckets, and looked at Estelle. Yes? Estelle came closer, pointed towards the hill. Whose house is this up there? It's our house. That's where we live. Father, Mother, and I. It's the first blue house I've seen ever since I arrived in this country. There aren't many of them, are there? Of course not. Only rich people can afford blue paint. Estelle looked towards the house and then back at me. And you are rich? Sure we are. I looked at Estelle a little closer, and it was only then that I realized that under the pilgrim's cloak was another child, hardly older than myself. Shaggy hair of a strange straw color stuck out from under the hood, falling into a slim, almost haggard face with a small stub nose that hardly fit the rest of her features. The eyes seemed to sit deeper in Estelle's head than what was good for them, and I could determine neither their color nor whether they looked at me or through me. All of a sudden, standing so close to that figure felt uncomfortable. I need to go. I need to get that water up to my house. Wait a moment. What's your name? So I'm just going to play the character and what I think they would say. So, I see no reason not to answer. Then again, he is pretty rich, isn't he? Yeah, okay. Don't answer. I ignored the question, turned towards our blue house, and started to walk. Without looking back again, I walked up to our house. Our blue house with the blue door. Behind me, Estelle disappeared, looking half sad, half disappointed. Then the first shot rang out. It was very close, and I would have almost dropped the buckets in surprise. It didn't sound like I imagined a shot would sound at all. But before I could realize what happened, the second shot came, and I didn't hear it anymore because it hit me. Without looking back, oh, wait. Before me was our blue house, somewhere. And there were my father and my mother, and there were others now, coming close to them. But none of that mattered. I was no longer there, and neither was Estelle. Oh, that was pretty quick. All because I didn't say my name. Ugh. Alright. Anyway. This is chapter 2. I figure chapter 1 went pretty fast that time, so I will go ahead and do chapter 2 as well. It was half an hour until the end of my shift when I noticed Estelle approaching. I normally wouldn't have bothered with a mere child, but few things worried me this time. The gray hooded cloak, perfect for hiding one's features. The direction from which that traveler came, and the fact that I hadn't noticed such a figure right until it stood only a few paces in front of the city gates I was guarding. "You there! Halt!" "Yes?" The child looked at me, and I shuddered for a moment, although I had no idea why. Estelle's weird, shadowy eyes. It was as though I couldn't just see them, but feel them on my skin, and that feeling really unsettled me. I wrapped my fingers tighter around my rifle. "Who are you, and where do you come from?" "I'm Estelle. I have just passed Screwland." Just as I had feared, I took one quick look at my rifle, making sure the bayonet was attached securely. "Are you a revolutionary?" "No. I'm on a pilgrimage." "Well, that's obvious. What temple do you belong to?" "Temple? What do you mean, temple?" The child seemed confused now, and I felt very much the same. How could a pilgrim not know the answer to that question? You're coming to a You're coming to a Vietnamese and don't know what temple you belong to? No? Is that important? Of course it is. A Vietnamese is known throughout the world as the city of the 10,000 temples. It's the best place for someone on a pilgrimage. Oh, so this is a Vietnamese? You didn't even know that? I thought everyone in Screwland knew our town. I was only passing through Screwland, and since there's a revolution going on there, asking people for the way is rather difficult. Ah, so that's how it is. Finally, this started making some sense. Someone who is more or less traveling without any directions would of course be confused. I relaxed the grip on my rifle a little. Well, so you've finally arrived at your destination. Where in town do you want to go now? The child seemed to hesitate for a moment. I am looking for a place to stay overnight. An inn would be good. An inn? That was the most ridiculous thing I had heard in all my life. You mean a place where you pay to stay overnight? Yes, something like that. I have some money, if that's what's worrying you. We don't have that in a Vietnamese. Inns. Profanities like that have no place here. A Vietnamese is the best place for pilgrims. Of course you're going to stay in one of the temples. That seemed to genuinely surprise Estelle. Really? Then which temple can I go to? That depends on which belief you follow. If you're coming from the east, then you're certainly a Monoterranian. There we go. I'm not sure. What do Monoterranians believe in? They believe in the divinity of our one earth, and that it created each human unique in its grace. That's not quite it. I like the choices here. It's either something more welcoming or something more imposing. I would say welcoming. Maybe you're a follower of the great sky sheep, whose warmth has brought the spark of companionship to humanity and taught them to live in harmony. Sounds nice, but I don't think that's what I believe in either. Sky sheep. That's kind of adorable. Now that I think about it, sky sheep. Okay, it's adorable. Anyway. I couldn't help it. I was stumped. Well then, for the uncounted heaven's sake, what gods do you believe in? Why, I don't believe in any gods at all. Ah, now there we have it. You're a member of the Unified Atheists. Atheists? You believe there are no gods, and that believing in gods is the wrong way to look at the world. That's down the street, the big triangular building just by the marketplace. But that didn't seem to agree with Estelle either. No, I would never say something like that. There are so many people who are happy because they believe in gods. I cannot just claim they're all wrong. Oh, drat. And I thought we had it here. Maybe you're one of the enlightened agnostics? I don't know. What's that now? The enlightened agnostics say that you cannot answer the questions whether gods do or do not exist, and that no man can know for sure. But I could tell by the look on the kid's face that this wasn't right either. Estelle peeked past me and seemed to eye the temples to the left and right of the road. I know there are gods. I just don't believe in them. I looked at Estelle for one long moment. Then suddenly everything clicked together. Of course. Now I understand. You're a founder. Oh, a what? You're the founder of a new religion. You have an entirely new idea for something to believe in. Your religion is one in which you believe that there are gods that others believe in. Wait. Wait. I need a drink out of this. You have an entirely new idea for something to believe in. Your religion is one in which you believe that there are gods that others believe in, but in which you yourself choose not to follow any god. A religion for people to free themselves from the gods and give refuge to all those who have lost their religion. Alright then. Estelle seemed to ponder that. If I were the founder of a religion, would that get me a room for the night in of enemies? A room? You'd get an entire house. Just go into the west quarter. 2 sects and 3 dark cults fell apart there last year. Their temples stand empty now. Just pick one you like. I'm sure the news of a new religion in of enemies will spread quickly, and soon you'll have some pilgrims following you. And that was a moment where Estelle's expression changed into one of complete shock. Pilgrims? I'm going to have pilgrims? Of course. Avenemis is the best place for pilgrims. Immediately, Estelle took 2 quick steps backwards. I think I don't want a room in the city anymore. Are there any people who live outside? Maybe there's a farm somewhere near? You'd rather go to a farm than to Avenemis? But aren't you on a pilgrimage? Of course I am. But I'm just passing through. I cannot stay here and found a new religion. I only want to stay for 1 single day, and I don't want pilgrims to come here looking for me and not finding me. But what would be so bad about that? People are coming to Avenemis looking for answers, and there are tens of thousands of answers in the city. One of these answers will be the right one, even if it's not yours. That seemed to make Estelle very sad. And you really believe that it doesn't matter for pilgrims whether they find what they're looking for, or something entirely different? I happen to know it doesn't matter. Avenemis is the best place for pilgrims because everyone finds something here he likes, and I'm certain you will too. No, nothing I seek is here. I know that now, and I thank you for it. You've been a great help, but I still need a place to stay for the night. Can you tell me where to find one? Sure, I stopped in mid-sentence and thought about the question for a bit. Then suddenly I realized something I'd never noticed before. No, I'm sorry, but I cannot tell you that. I know where the people who worship the 8 million spirits live, and I can show you the flaming knights who fight disbelief with fire, and I can tell you the way to the weeping sisters. But I don't know something as simple as where to find a place to stay overnight, or a place to go when you're not on a pilgrimage. Are you a pilgrim? No, Then why are you still here? Yet another question that hit me harder than I would have thought possible, and seeing the true answer was so painful that my eyes filled with tears. I don't know really. I really don't know. Estelle slowly nodded. I'm sorry I came here, but I had to, I'm on a pilgrimage, and Avinamis is the best place for pilgrims. Yes, the best place. I just never noticed it before. I slowly looked down at myself. I looked at my blue uniform with the blinking brass buttons, looked at my rifle and the bayonet attached to it. I slowly turned, walked over to the gate I had been guarding, and set down my rifle, putting it against the wall. When I turned again, Estelle had already started walking back along the road. Wait a moment. Is there something else? Come back for a minute. Looking a little confused, Estelle returned to me. Actually, I do know a place where you could stay for the night, but it will cost you 3 ounces of silver. Do you have that much? Sure. Estelle searched through the pockets of the hooded cloak, finally producing 3 large coins with a portrait of a king I didn't know on it. Is that enough? That's well enough. Reaching into my uniform, I pulled out the key I was carrying. These will open the door to the quarters. The bed has fresh sheets, there are fruits and cheese in the cupboard, and there's a clay pot with bread on the table. If you want to, you can use the stove too, but you have to be gone by 11 tomorrow. That's the time of roll call. Estelle gave me the money and took the key and returned. Thank you. Where's the room? Right there. I pointed it out, and Estelle's eyes grew wide. But that's the guardhouse. Right. I turned my back to Avinamis and walked away, following the street to the east. Slowly I unbuttoned my uniform jacket as I walked. I would get rid of it later, maybe in exchange for something more comfortable and less flashy. But before that, I threw one last glance over my shoulder. I saw Estelle picking up the rifle I had left standing next to the city gates, holding it in an outstretched hand. Skeptically looking at it, and then walking towards the guardhouse I had lived in before. Nobody really gave that child a second look. There were many religions that worshipped firearms. And Avinamis was, after all, the best place for pilgrims. Alright, we're on to chapter 3. We will continue on from there later. Again, this has been the 13th year, and I am Bluebird Plays. Make sure you check out my website at bluebirdplays.com and hit me up on Twitter at bluebirdplays.com. At bluebirdplays. And I hope everyone has a good day.